What's going on, everybody? It's episode 5 of the Los Angeles Rams Insider Podcast on Sports Illustrated with myself, Tom Cavanaugh. Today is November 6th, 2024, and we're going to get into a few different things for this Rams squad as they head into a Monday Night Football bout with the 2-6 Miami Dolphins. Going to be talking about the latest trade that the Rams were able to make a day ago, where they stand currently within the NFL power rankings across multiple sites and a few different writers for the NFL. Injury report's going to come out a little bit later, so we can get you some breaking news on that as the day progresses. And into tomorrow, we can break that down and the effects that it will have on the team going forward. And also, an NFC Defensive Player of the Week award was handed out to a rookie defensive back for the Rams. And record predictions, a new little segment that we're going to try to dip into here that kind of looks at the entire rest of the NFC West, what they're going to do this week, my predictions for those respective games, and where this divisional race is kind of eyeing up to be through week 10. So taking a look at the trade deadline, it was Tre'Davious White who was dealt from the Los Angeles Rams, a guy that didn't spend a ton of time on the field in a Rams uniform, just 4 games this season in his first year in Los Angeles. He's a longtime player of the Buffalo Bills in the AFC, and now he will rejoin the AFC, not in that same division that he once was with the Bills. He'll be heading over to the Baltimore Ravens. So the Rams, they were able to trade away quarterback Tre'Davious White and a 2027 seventh-round pick to the Ravens in place for a 2026 seventh-round pick. So it's a 2-for-1 kind of deal. White going to be heading over to Baltimore, a team that it has Super Bowl hopes, just like the Rams do, but they needed a few guys in their defensive secondary. When you look at the numbers, the Ravens, are the worst team in defending the pass in the NFL. So the biggest thing for them to do was try to find someone to help shore up that defense when it comes to the passing game. They wanted to go after Marshawn Lattimore of the New Orleans Saints. He is a very, very solid cornerback safety for that Saints group. He was traded over to the Washington Commanders just hours before the Rams made the trade. So Ravens obviously wanted to go after Lattimore first. They didn't get him. And then they called up the Rams and said, hey, what do you want for White? And they were able to get that deal done just about 3 hours before the trade deadline closed on Tuesday. So it's a guy that the Rams lose. It's a big loss because he is a multi-time Pro Bowler. He's been to the playoffs several times. One of the best cornerbacks in the league over the last several years, and it hurts, but it also is going to give a lot more of these rookies time to adjust and make plays and have a bigger role. A couple of guys we talked about, I know they're safeties, but Cam Kitchens and a few others were able to make big plays. Jalen McCullough, he's been going crazy lately with 3 interceptions in his last 2 games. So the defensive backfield is still pretty solid for the Rams, even without White on the squad. So going forward, they hate to lose him, but at the same time, they're doing all right back there anyways. He did not play last week against the Seahawks, and they were still able to limit Geno Smith enough, mostly because of their pass rush. He was sacked 7 times. But the Rams getting that 2026 7th-round pick, obviously it's a late pick, not probably going to get a big splash player, but you never know. The Rams always do a really nice job of finding talent late in the draft, so we'll see how that turns out in a couple of years when they do use that pick. Looking at the stock report rankings across the NFL for this Rams team, they were jumping up spots on everybody's board. Bill Huber from Sports Illustrated, he bumped up the Rams to number 17 in the power rankings, up 5 spots from last week. And a big reason for that is the comeback that they were able to garner against Seattle. Down 10 points at halftime, they battle back. Matthew Stafford, one of his marquee game-winning touchdown drives, and they get it done. So, I mean, you look up and down, almost every single writer has bumped them up several spots from CBS Sports. Pete Prisco, he brought them up to number 15, a few more spots up this week. And they pretty much have turned their season around completely. Starting 1-4, he mentioned it. They said they've really turned around their season as the offense gets healthy and the defense improves with a lot of young players. They look to be ready to make a playoff push, and that's true. They play in the NFC West division that is very tight right now, just a half game or 1 full game separating the 1st and the 4th teams. And the Rams playing their best football at the moment, they could be making a playoff push. Eric Edholm from NFL.com, he puts them in at number 18, bumping them up 2 spots from number 20, and a lot of the same reasons for them getting that overtime victory and winning 3 in a row. And then finally to number 16 from the 33rd team, Marcus Mosher. He kept the Rams just outside of the top 15 in the rankings, but still bumped them up a few positions as well. He said, he wrote about this yesterday. The Los Angeles Rams are now on a 3-game winning streak and are just a game and a half back of the division lead. And that's true because this Arizona Cardinal team sitting atop at 5-4, they have a very manageable game coming up this week against the Jets. But it's a team that can enter the top 10 if they continue to win these games. The Cardinals and then also the Rams. It's going to be a battle between those two teams unless the San Francisco 49ers are able to come through and do what they always do late in the year and go on a huge winning streak. So it's good to see for the Rams, bumping up several spots, getting just inside the top 15 across NFL writers, and they're definitely on the up and up currently. An NFC weekly award was given out to rookie safety Cameron Kinchins for his pair of picks in the win against Seattle. Very impressive day for the rookie out of Miami. He had a 103-yard pick six interception. That was the longest in franchise history, and had a second pick a couple of drives later on Geno Smith. Both of those interceptions coming inside the end zone. Seahawks were on the doorstep of scoring multiple times, and Kinchins took away a couple of picks. And boy, did he deserve that NFC Defensive Player of the Week award for how he did last week. And he's going to be getting a lot more playing time. He's going to assume a much bigger role, going to stay on the field a ton more in hopes of kind of solidifying a spot as a mainstay defensive back, a safety in this league for years to come. And the Rams are lucky to have him. So the segment that we want to introduce, Guess the Standings. We're going to take a look all around the NFC West, look at the teams that each respective divisional team will play this week, kind of give a gauge and a prediction on what the result will be, and then their assumed record after the fact, and where the the standings picture looks after week 10. So you get right into things, starting with the Arizona Cardinals. They'll be at home against the New York Jets. Currently, Cardinals are in first place at 5-4, getting a win last week, dominating the Chicago Bears, and they're looking for another one. Quarterback Kyler Murray's been playing incredible. He's got a few options in the passing game. James Conner, obviously, their running back, has been great this season as well. And Cardinals, I mean, they're taking on a Jets team that did win last week. They're on the up and up a little bit, but still have found extreme struggles through the first several games of this season. Adding Devontae Adams from the Raiders, that's huge. Alan Lazard, he was out last week with an injury. Garrett Wilson, obviously, he's become one of the better receivers in the entire league. So the Jets, I mean, they're going to give the Cardinals a run for their money, but just kind of looking at first glance here, it looks like a Cardinals win. Obviously, at home, they're going to have the time change on the Jets. I mean, going over those couple of time zones for New York is going to be tougher. So I'd see the Cardinals coming out with a win, moving to 6-4 on the year, and still staying at first place in the division and getting to 2 games above 500. For the San Francisco 49ers, they're going to be on the road at Tampa Bay this week. Right now, currently, the Niners are coming off a bye week, sitting at 4-4, tied for second place with the Rams in the NFC West. It's going to be a toss-up game. Both squads are littered with injuries. When you look at the Niners, you got Brandon Ayuk out. You got Juwan Jennings, has not been healthy for most of this year as well. Christian McCaffrey, obviously, he's been dealing with stuff in his lower body, and this team has been extremely banged up, and that's why you see their 4-4 record. They lost to the Rams earlier this year. They lost to the Vikings. Some other uncharacteristic games where they usually win. I mean, they outplayed the Kansas City Chiefs and still lost by double digits in that game. The real pieces for that group that's really been successful this year has been their running back, Garendo, and then also you have George Kittle and Brock Purdy, obviously. Those guys have been great this year. So when you look at the Niners, they're taking on a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that also has multiple guys hurt. Chris Godwin, he had a season-ending injury. Mike Evans a few weeks ago, he found himself injured out for an extended period of time. And that Tampa Bay team played last week on Monday night. against the Kansas City Chiefs, and that was a heck of a game. I mean, the Bucks really gave that Chiefs team a run for their money, trying to knock off the undefeated Super Bowl back-to-back Super Bowl winning champions. Uh, Buccaneers had a chance to win the ball game in the final seconds. They elected to kick the extra point and go to overtime. And obviously, the Chiefs do what they do when they win the coin toss and get the ball first. They went right down the field and scored a touchdown to win. A 2-point conversion on the road in Kansas City would have been massive for the Buccaneers because they get it. They win the ball game. They decided not to, ended up losing in overtime, but still a great performance from the Bucks, a team that knocked off the Detroit Lions, who many think are the number one team in the entire NFL, and then took the Kansas City Chiefs down to the wire in overtime. So even with several guys injured, the Buccaneers are looking like a serviceable team that can knock off and compete with anybody at any time. Baker Mayfield, he's had a heck of a year. He's up in the top of the standings when it comes to touchdown passes, has had a crazy year compared to his last few. Really good stuff from Baker in that Bucks team, even without multiple of their stars. Kind of looking at the game and who's going to come out with it, I see a Niners win. Buccaneers, they expended a lot last week. It's hard for them to try to follow that up and compete with a pretty good team back-to-back weeks with so many injuries. So I'd see the Niners getting a win. They move to 5-4 and would still be in second place. For the Seahawks, they have a bye this week, so nothing on their end. But I mean, you never know. I mean, they always talk about teams can win or lose the bye week, so we'll keep you updated there on how the Seahawks do. But they can currently sit at 4-5. Will likely be at the bottom of the division. They will be, kind of depending on if the Rams are able to get a win, and that takes us to the prediction on the Rams Dolphins game. And Rams at home on Monday Night Football, I see him getting a win against Miami. Dolphins are 2-6. They've struggled all year long, even when Tua Tagovailoa has come back from his concussion. They still have lost 2 in a row. They've put up 27 points in back-to-back games, but their defense has not held up. I mean, you look at the numbers. The offensive line has allowed 20 sacks this year for the Dolphins quarterbacks, and with Tua out, they've used several. Skylar Thompson, Tim Boyle, Tyler Huntley. I mean, all those guys have played this season in place of Tua, and no matter who's back there commanding the offense, there's pressure getting to him. And with what the Rams showed last week with 7 sacks against Geno Smith and that front, I can see a lot more issues happening for Tagovailoa and this offense with Jared Verse and Braden Fisk rushing the edges. Rams would move to 5-4. They would still be tied for second place in the division if the Niners get a win. But that kind of looks to be the outlook. Every team, 3 out of the 4 teams playing in the division this week, all will get wins. In my opinion, Cardinals, they take down the Jets, move to 6-4. Niners beat Tampa, they'll be 5-4, and the Rams take care of business at home on Monday night against the Dolphins, and they'll be 5-4 as well. It's going to do it for us here from the Los Angeles Insider Podcast on Sports Illustrated with myself, Tom Cavanaugh. Thanks for listening, everybody. You can go check us out at LA Rams on SI, wherever you follow and watch and read our content, and then follow on Twitter at Rams Insider on SI, and follow myself, Tom Cavanaugh, at TCAV30 on X as well. We'll see you again tomorrow, everybody. Thanks so much. Have a great day.